Hey, today I'm talking about 3 really good Kerry Washington films, all based on or inspired by real life events / people. And the names of those 3 films are Confirmation, The Last King of Scotland, and Ray. First up is Confirmation. This is a 2016 film about the confirmation of one Justice Clarence Thomas in specific regard to Anita Hill showing up and throwing everything into chaos for good reason. So this is definitely a made-for-TV movie. You can definitely see that in the quality. And the guy who plays Clarence Thomas was not the strongest actor. But Kerry Washington frickin' crushed it as Anita Hill. Also, Greg Kinnear made a great Biden. But most importantly of all, they nailed the emotion. This movie made me so angry and infuriating at how goddamn dumb our country is that we let this piece of shit become a Supreme Court justice. And spoilers to real life, he's corrupt as shit. Who could have seen that coming? Maybe the woman who threw away her life to get him to not be in the most powerful position in this goddamn country? Yeah, probably should have listened to the black woman. But yeah, no, it's such a good film. Like, it's so infuriating, but like, it does a good job of really showing like a slice of what all that craziness was. They incorporate a lot of like news clips into it as well. It's almost a documentary in a sense, but I think they made really good use of that. It was called like a pseudo-documentary. They also used a lot of like public record stuff, like literal people's testimonies at the confirmation hearing. So like, it's basically just verbatim of what happened, plus a little bit more. And yeah, you can see the budget and stuff, but I didn't care because it nailed the emotion, and that's really the most important thing with a movie. If you can get emotionally transformed with a movie, then it did its job. And this one just crushed it so goddamn hard. So yes, I totally 100% recommend this movie. I loved it. It's fantastic. It's well worth a watch. Also, Clarence Thomas. Next up is The Last King of Scotland. This is a 2006 film starring Forest Whitaker and James McAvoy, and the basic premise is this is a mixture of real-life events with a character that's an amalgamation of a bunch of characters. That's the audience surrogate character. So it's about this dictator in Uruguay, but then James McAvoy plays the audience surrogate, who's this white doctor who came in and befriended him and got to witness all of these crazy things that happened. And he's mostly based off like 2 different doctors that he had, but there were other characters as well. Regardless though, it's really good. It's definitely a very well made film. You can definitely see the budget, and it's got great quality to it. Everyone gives really solid performances. James does a great job of like being very cocky and getting sucked into the idea of this dictator, but then he slowly realizes the shit show that he's a part of and becomes a scared little boy, and he nails that so well. Forest Whitaker does a great job of being both like very fun-loving and likable and charming, but then also like nails the crazy, intense anger as well. Kerry Washington's not in the film a ton, but whenever she shows up, it's always an added bonus. So yeah, it's definitely a very, very well-made film. I originally actually ranked this higher than Confirmation just because it is a well-made film, but upon reflection, I'm like, no, I feel like I connected a bit more to Confirmation. That being said though, I without a doubt recommend this movie. It's really, really good and definitely well worth a watch. It's just me personally connected to Confirmation more, so that's why it nudged out this one, but they're both 2 really great films. So yes, definitely give this a watch. And lastly is Ray. This is a 2004 film starring Jamie Foxx and a ton of other actors that you know. And the basic premise is this is about Ray Charles. It covers a decent chunk of his life, but not the entirety of his life. Basically about like the rise of his career, but also the rise of his heroin use, which was a really great idea to center the film around because it's a really messed up thing and it works really well. I think Jamie Foxx gave a great performance. I also gotta praise both Kerry Washington and Regina Hill, especially Regina Hill. Like, Kerry Washington did great, but Regina Hill just like, dang. Dang. Really everyone did a solid job all over. I think the story was definitely interesting and the subject matter was good. The two things that I would change about the movie, I think it was a little bit long, in particular in the beginning. They were doing so much like rushing through a lot of years, and I think what they should have done is just take out some of those years and just kind of like let a couple years play out rather than have a lot of years not really play out that much. The second thing is with the heroine, I feel like we really just skimmed the surface on the terribleness of heroin. Like, I know we don't need to go into super like graphic detail about all of the terribleness of heroin, but I feel like it did the movie a bit of a disservice by just touching the surface level of it and not going just a little bit deeper into just like the physical toll it really takes. Because like, yeah, we did get little bits of like him doing like the scratching and the twitchy leg and all that stuff, but it really f***s you up. And just a bit more of that would have really elevated the film. That being said, I really liked it. So like, it's just kind of like, you know, kind of being from like the bottom of the really liked category to closer to the top of the really liked category is what I'm describing here. In a sense, it feels like they're pulling their punches a little bit. But that being said, I still enjoyed the film a lot and would totally, again, recommend it. It's definitely a well-made film that deserves the praise that it's gotten over the years. So yes, I definitely enjoyed this and would totally recommend it. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Confirmation sitting number 2 in the really like section. And then after that is The Last King of Scotland sitting number 3, also in the really like section. And then bringing up the rear is Ray sitting at number 6, again in the really like section. And this is out of a total of 18 old movies so far this year.